What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to talk about the new starter deck which is coming out. There is a new starter deck which is coming out very, very soon. There is an FAQ that we need to have a little bit of a chat about. Frankly, we need to have a chat about this new starter deck. It is starter deck 14 3D2Y, and it is officially coming out on the 16th of August 2024. And there is a lot to get excited about with this particular deck. And what is very lovely, we got into that point that always makes me very happy personally. We've gotten to the point where Bandai just go and put the entire set list, all of the cards, all the clear scans up on the website, making my job much nicer and much easier. So, shout out to whoever it is over at Bandai maintaining the website, making my job easier. You make me very happy. Is it a starter deck worth getting excited about? I think it might be. Is it the best starter deck we've had so far? No. But they are two very different questions. And one of the cool things about this starter deck is it's bringing in, for us, a new mechanic. There is a mechanic coming in this set which we've not had in English before. So take the leader Luffy. Mono black card, 5,000 power, 5 life, Dawn X1. All of your characters gain +1 cost. If you have a character with cost 8 or more, this leader gains 1,000 power. So we got a bunch of skills that rely on having a certain power character on the board. But then we've also got a bunch of skills that help you to ramp up the power of certain characters. So we got things like Usopp here, whereby if you got a character of a cost of 8 or more, KO a character of a cost of 4 or less. Sanji is one of the super rares. If you've got a character of a cost of 6 or more, you KO a character costing 5 or less, as an example. But then you've got other cards in the deck, like Jinbei gives one of your Black Straw Hat crew +2 cost until the end of your opponent's next turn. We've got Hiatus here. Counter +2k is great, but activate main, rest this character up to one of your Black Straw Hat crew characters, gains +2 cost until the end of your opponent's next turn. We have a skill boosting up the cost. But then we've also got a second skill on Hiatus here, whereby if you have a character that costs 8 or more in play, you get to draw a card and trash one as part of the activate main, which is really good, incidentally. So that's basically what we have in this deck. We have a bunch of cards which will up your cost, and a bunch of cards that take advantage of your cost having been upped. I should say Sanji, one of the super rares. The other designated super rare in the set is Nami. That is a blocker, and on play, if you've got 6 or fewer cards in your hand, and a character of a cost of 8 or more in play, draw a card. I said designated super rares, like they have all the foiling and effect of a super rare, but obviously they're in every single theme deck, so the rarity is kind of fixed, so I'm going to let you guys figure that out. So that's your brief introduction to the starter deck. We also have a Q&A because new deck, new characters, new rulings need to be made. And it starts off with the leader. Remember, the leader's got that skill whereby Dawn X1, all your characters gain +1 cost. And if you have an 8 cost or higher character, the leader gets an extra 1,000 power. So does the Dawn X1 give +1 cost to characters in my hand or trash? No, it does not. It only gives +1 cost to characters on your field. This is an extremely crucial point when we're talking about these new starter decks, this new mechanic that Black has. You are raising cost, but you are not actually making your characters more expensive. That would be horrendous. What it's doing is making your characters more expensive on the board, such that their printed cost is actually lower than their actual cost. Partly that will interact with all the skills that we've seen, which is really good, but then we know there are a bunch of cards that will KO a character that is cost X or less, or get rid of a character in another way which is cost X or less. And obviously here, by increasing the cost of your characters, what you're doing is making those skills of your opponent a lot less relevant, which is clearly a very, very good thing. Trying to make sure that you're protected from a bunch of these skills, for instance, which is awesome. So to use a card as an example which never sees any play whatsoever, the Joseph from OP07, and I'm sure some people are playing it, but I mean, it's not exactly a card that people are clamoring to get into their decks, but it's got an on-play skill. You may place 2 cards of a type, including CP, from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order, to KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less. Well, your opponent is going to be trying to lower your cost with their black cards. Well, now you can come along and raise your cost, give yourself that protection. So what if your leader is Monkey D. Luffy and has a Don card so that on my opponent's turn, because I have a character of a cost of 8 on the field, my leader has plus 6,000 power. During the same turn, my opponent gets rid of that character. I no longer have an 8 cost on the field. Does my power drop down to 5,000? Yes, it does. Luffy is not a skill that activates and then stays. It is a skill that is static, and essentially the game is always checking. The second you get an 8 cost character on the board, with Don X1 of course, that means that you get the extra 1,000 power. As soon as it goes, you lose that extra 1,000 power. It is a skill which is essentially constantly in flux and constantly being checked. Now, I told you about the Usopp a moment ago. This is the one whereby Don X1, when attacking, if you have a character of a cost of 8 or more, KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. Another example of a card that picks on lower cost characters. Well, if this character has a cost of 8 or more, can I do the skill taking advantage of this cost? Yes, you can. Crucial thing here, it doesn't say if you have another character, it says if you have a character. So you would use a bunch of stuff like Luffy and Horatius, for instance, raise up the cost of Usopp to the point where it got to 8, and then you would be able to use Usopp's skill, but just using itself, which would be a rather nice little bonus. Now, I mentioned a Sanji a moment ago, one of the super rares from the deck. We've got on play, if you've got a character of a cost of 6 or more, KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. Another card picking on low-cost characters. Again, just because you're upping your own cost here doesn't mean you're not also doing the other stuff that black generally does. Well, same as the thing with Usopp. If this character has a cost of 6 or more, can I use the on-play effect? Yes, you can. Obviously, you would need all those characters buffing when you played it, but with Sanji, it's actually really simple. If you've got Luffy with a Don on, all your characters get the +1 cost, which would put Sanji straight from a 5 to a 6, and that is all you need here, which is rather lovely. If your leader is Monkey D. Luffy and has a Don card attached to it, but I have no other characters, and I play Sanji, can I use the on-play effect? It is a different ruling in the FAQ. Like I've just explained, yes, you can. This is an example I just gave. And the deal is, Monkey D. Luffy gives all of your characters +1 cost as a standard thing. You play Sanji, it instantly goes to a 6 cost because of Luffy. You then check to see if you got a 6 cost on the board, which you do because Sanji, and then the skill fires, and you're off and rolling. Now, we do have a new Nico Robin coming around in this starter deck, and Nico Robin has got an on-play and when attacking, if you have a character of a cost of 8 or more, give up to one of your opponent's characters -5 cost for the turn. That is a big cost reduction. And you see where we're going with this ruling, right? Same as I just said with Sanji, same as I said with Usopp. If Nico Robin is your only 8 cost or more, can you use a skill? Yeah, you can, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, you can. And then we could say a very similar thing here about Frankie, for instance. Frankie's got a rather lovely skill. Don X1 on your opponent's turn. If you have a character of a cost of 6 or more, this character cannot be KO'd by your opponent's effects and gains 2,000 power. So yes, if Frankie is your only 6 cost or higher character, that skill would work. And obviously, if you've got the Monkey D. Luffy leader, you would have a 6 cost because Frankie would go from a 5 to a 6. and then you would be sorted immediately. And obviously, like, that's the way it's designed. Sanji and Frankie are very much designed as if you played them with Luffy, as in this Luffy from this starter deck, the skills are always going to fire, which is lovely. Last, rolling along these lines, we have got a Monkey D. Luffy in the set. 8 cost, 10,000 power. If you have any character of a cost of 10 or more, this character gains Rush. And again, same deal as before. If Luffy itself has a 10 cost, do you get Rush? Yes, you do. Of course, the leader Luffy here would not be enough. You would need to add one more cost. But again, it's designed in this way. Powerful enough skill, so make it a little more difficult. Don't just get it from the leader, which honestly makes a lot of sense. And then, since we've done that ruling a few times, how about Thousand Sunny? Lovely new stage card from the deck. 1 cost, all of your Black Straw Hat Crew characters gain +1 cost. So yes, if you combine this with a leader, Rush Luffy totally works. On play, if your leader has a Straw Hat Crew type, draw 1 card. Does this give +1 cost to character cards in my hand or trash? Nah, mate. We went through that at the start. So really here, 2 key rulings you need to be aware of. The extra cost only applies to characters on the field, not in hand or trash. And if the character looking for a character with a cost of X or more has that cost, it will activate the skill. There we go. I've told you what you need to know, and now it's over to you guys. Are you excited for this new starter deck? Do you believe that you are going to see this doing well? Are you going to be testing it? Tell me anything you want to tell me about this deck in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.